My dad spent 38 years building a life for our family. He fixed cars. He packed lunches. He showed up. And when he was lying in a hospital bed, oxygen mask on, hands shaking, do you know where his wife was? At a restaurant. Candlelight. Wine glasses. Another man's hand on the table. She didn't know what he'd left for her in the nightstand drawer. None of us did. But when she finally opened that letter, everything changed. For all of us. I'm not here to tell you a sob story. I'm here to talk about something most of us never want to face until it's too late. What happens to the people we love when we're gone? What do we leave behind, not just in a will but in who we were? Because here's the thing. That letter my father wrote didn't just say goodbye. It revealed something about loyalty, character, and legacy that hit harder than anything I've ever read. And it changed how I live my life. So let's talk about it, all of it. The betrayal, the grief, the letter, and the lessons I think every single one of us needs to hear. Here's something that nobody talks about at funerals. A lot of marriages don't end in a big dramatic fight. They end in silence. They end in two people eating dinner on opposite sides of the table, staring at their phones, having nothing left to say. My father and his wife, I'll call her Sandra, had been together for 14 years. Second marriage for both of them. First it seemed like the real thing. They laughed a lot. They traveled. They had something going. But somewhere around year 7 or 8 the warmth just evaporated. He worked. She spent. He got quieter. She got angrier. Then she got distant. And my dad, being the man he was, just kept showing up. Paying bills. Fixing things around the house. Taking out the trash. Classic American man, right? You don't talk about it. You just keep going. But here's what I've learned since then. Distance in a marriage doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow leak. One skipped conversation at a time. One unanswered text. One night where you chose Netflix over each other. And if you're not paying attention, if you don't actively water the thing, it dies. Now, I'm not blaming my father for Sandra's choices. What she did was her decision. Let's be clear about that. But I want you to think about the people in your life right now. Your spouse. Your kids. Your parents. When's the last time you really looked at them? Not glanced. Not scrolled past their texts. Actually looked at them and said, "How are you doing? What do you need from me?" Because the people in your life are either getting closer to you or drifting further away. There's no standing still. Now let's talk about what Sandra did. Because I think some of you watching this have been here. Maybe not in this exact situation, but you've been betrayed. By a partner. Parent. A best friend. A business partner. Somebody you trusted completely. And you know that particular kind of pain. It's not like breaking your arm. It doesn't heal clean. It lives in you. It changes the way you see people. When my father got his diagnosis, stage 4 moving fast, Sandra started pulling away almost immediately. Looking back, I think she'd already checked out emotionally long before that. She was there for the first few doctor's appointments. Then she wasn't. My sister and I stepped up. We took turns at the hospital. We learned what his medications were. We held his hand through the bad nights. And Sandra. She'd show up sometimes. Make excuses other times. And then one night, a night the doctors told us could be any day now, she said she needed some air and left. We found out later she was at an upscale restaurant in the city. With a man none of us had ever met. I'll be honest with you. When I heard that, I felt something I can only describe as a cold, hollow rage. Not hot anger. Cold. Like something fundamental had broken. And here's what I've been thinking about ever since. Betrayal hurts most when it comes from someone we never imagined capable of it. We had a picture of who Sandra was in our minds. And that night the picture shattered. But here's the question that took me a long time to answer: what do you do with that? Because here's what I know about betrayal. You cannot carry it forever without it changing who you are. If you hold on to that kind of pain long enough, it doesn't stay as pain. It turns into bitterness. Into suspicion. Into walls you build around yourself that eventually keep out the good people too. And the person who betrayed you, they're living their life. They've already moved on. So who is the bitterness actually hurting? Okay, here's the part one promised you. 3 days after that night at the restaurant, my dad passed away. Early morning just before sunrise. My sister and I were there. It was quiet. It was the most peaceful and most devastating moment of my life. And when we were getting his things together, we found it. A sealed envelope in his nightstand drawer. Just one word written on the front in his handwriting. Sandra. We called her. She came and picked it up without saying much. But later, weeks later, she called my sister. And she was crying. Like really crying. The kind of crying that has grief in it, not just guilt. She read us the letter over the phone. I can't share every word. That still feels too personal. But I can tell you what was in it, because my father's words deserve to be heard. He didn't rage at her. He didn't list her failures. He didn't call her names. He didn't threaten to cut her out of the will, though honestly he had every right to be angry. Instead, he did something that broke all of us completely. He forgave her. He wrote that he'd known for a while that she'd been unhappy, that he wished they'd talked more, that he regretted the years of silence between them, and he took his share of the blame for that silence. He wrote that he hoped she would find peace, that he hoped she would stop running from herself, because that's what he believed was really happening. She wasn't running toward someone else. She was running from herself. He ended the letter by saying, I don't want you to carry guilt for the rest of your life. That's not the life I'd wish for you. Live well. Be honest. Love better than we did. That was it. That was my dad. 38 years of showing up, and in his final act he chose grace. And I want you to sit with that for a second. Because how you treat people when you have every reason not to be kind, that is who you are. That is your character. My father had every reason to be bitter. Every reason to wound her with his last words. And he chose not to. He chose to leave something that might actually help her grow, instead of something that would just make him feel righteous in his final moments. That is the kind of person I want to be. That is the kind of legacy that actually lasts. I spent a long time after my father's death just thinking about how he lived, about how he died, about what I wanted my life to look like when I'm in that hospital bed someday. And I came up with 5 things. 5 real lessons, no fluff, no motivational poster garbage, that I have actually tried to apply to my life. I'm sharing them with you because I think they matter. Lesson 1. Say the real thing while you still can. My dad wished he and Sandra had talked more. More honestly. More openly. Most of us have conversations we've been putting off. With a parent we're not speaking to. With a partner we've drifted from. With a kid who needs to hear, I'm proud of you from our mouth. Don't wait. The moment you're waiting for is right now. Pick up the phone tonight. Not tomorrow. Tonight. Lesson 2. Silence is not the same as strength. My father came from a generation of men who were taught to keep it inside. Handle it. Don't complain. And I get it. There's something admirable about toughness. But there's a difference between being tough and being closed off. One protects you. The other isolates you. Emotional silence doesn't just hurt you. It leaves the people around you guessing. It leaves them feeling unimportant. It leaves them drifting. Talk. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Lesson 3. Forgiveness is not for them. It's for you. This one took me the longest. After Sandra, I was angry for months. Every time I drove past a nice restaurant, I'd feel it. That cold, hollow thing in my chest. But my father's letter, the fact that he'd already forgiven her before she even had to ask, it made me realize I was carrying a weight that he'd already put down. He was free. And I was still chained. Forgiveness is not saying what someone did was okay. It's saying, I refuse to let what you did continue to take up space inside me. It is the most selfish, practical, life-giving decision you can make. Lesson 4. Your legacy is not what you leave behind. It's what you leave inside people. My dad didn't leave behind a fortune. He left behind a paid-off truck, a toolbox, and a small savings account. But he left inside of Sandra the possibility of becoming a better person. He left inside me and my sister a model of what it looks like to love without conditions. That is worth more than any inheritance. What are you building inside the people around you right now? Are you building trust, safety, a sense of being loved? Or are you building resentment, fear, distance? Because every interaction is a deposit or a withdrawal. And your kids, your partner, your friends, they're keeping score whether you mean them to or not. Lesson 5. The way you face hard things is who you are. It's easy to be a good person on a Tuesday when nothing is going wrong. The test is, who are you when you're in that hospital bed? When you've been betrayed? When everything you worked for seems like it's slipping? My dad passed that test. With a pen and a piece of paper in a hospital room in the last days of his life, he showed me everything I needed to know about how to be a man. Not by lecturing me, just by being who he was. Here's what I want you to do before you go to sleep tonight. Write a letter. Or a text. Or just go find the person and say it out loud. Tell someone in your life what they mean to you. Don't wait until it's too late. Don't wait until you're out of time or they're out of reach. My dad's letter changed Sandra's life. I believe that. But here's what I wish with everything in me, is that he'd said those things while he was still here, while he could hear her response, while there was still time to try. Don't leave the important things for the nightstand drawer. Say them now. If this video meant something to you, share it with one person. Just one. Someone who needs to hear it. Hit subscribe and I'll keep bringing you real stories with real lessons. I'll see you in the next one.